Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Profit Path, the podcast where we break down the essentials of personal finance to help you live your best financial life. I'm your host, the Wealth Whisperer, and today we're diving into a topic that's the foundation of financial success: budgeting. Whether you're trying to save for a big purchase, pay off a debt, or just make sure you have enough to cover your expenses, budgeting is the first step toward achieving your financial goals. But don't worry, if the word budget makes you feel overwhelmed, stick by me. By the end of this episode, you'll see why budgeting is not just easy, but also empowering. What is a budget? Well, what exactly is a budget? At its core, budget is simply a plan for your money. It's a way to track how much money you have coming in, that's your income, and how much money is going out, your expenses. Think of it as a financial roadmap that helps you navigate your spending, saving, and investing. Budgets come in all shapes and sizes, but they all serve the same purpose: to ensure you are not spending more than you earn and to help you allocate your money towards the things that matter the most to you. Okay? Well, then, what are some of the benefits of budgeting? Okay, you're gonna have to forgive that. I'm not cutting it out. What are some of the benefits of budgeting? And why is budgeting so important? One, to control over finances. A budget gives you control over your money so you know exactly where every single dollar is going. This reduces the stress and uncertainty of living paycheck to paycheck. Okay? Number two, achieving financial goals. Whether it's saving for a vacation, a new car, or a down payment on a house, a budget helps you prioritize your goals and make steady progress towards them. The third benefit of budgeting is avoiding debt. By keeping track of your spending, you're less likely to overspend and end up relying on credit cards or loans. Number four, emergency preparedness. A good budget includes savings for emergencies, so you're prepared for unexpected expenses like medical bills or car repairs. And lastly, peace of mind. Knowing that you have a plan for your money brings peace of mind. You can sleep better at night knowing you're on top of your finances. You're standing on business. Now, what are the building blocks of a budget? The basic components of a budget are income, fixed expenses, variable expenses, savings and investments, debt payment. Let's break that down, shall we? Let's start with income. Income, start by figuring out how much money you have coming in each month. This includes your salary, any freelance work, side gigs, even passive income from your investments or like rental income. That's your income. Any money coming in every month. Fixed expenses. These are the expenses that stay the same each month. They are like rent, mortgage payments, car payments, insurance premiums, subscription services. Fixed expenses are typically non-negotiable, so you need to make sure they are covered first. These are your bills, your constant bills, your water bill, your electricity bill. Now, we have the variable expenses. These are the expenses that can fluctuate from month to month, like groceries, utility, entertainment, dining out. You have more control over variable expenses, which is why they're often the focus when you're trying to cut your costs. You see, when your budget is not budgeting, you come back to your variable expenses and you do something about it. The fourth one was savings and investments. Now, a good a good budget also includes money set aside for savings and investments. This could be for an emergency fund, retirement, or any other long-term goals really. Ideally, you should aim to save at least 20% of your income, but even small amounts can add up over time. Lastly, debt payment. If you have debts such as credit card debts, student loans, mortgage, any debts, your budget should include a plan for paying it down. Per- Prioritize high interest debts first to minimize the amount of interest you pay over time. Okay? Now, how do you create your budget? How? Well, creating a budget might sound daunting, but it's actually quite simple. First, you track your income and your expenses. Start by tracking your income and expenses for a month. You can use a spreadsheet, a budgeting app, or even just a notebook. Write down every source of income and every single expense. Number two, categorize your spending. Once you have a list of all your expenses, categorize them into fixed and variable expenses. This will help you see where your money is going and identify areas where you might be overspending. Number three, set financial goals. Think about what you want to achieve with your money. Do you want to save for a vacation, pay off a debt, build an emergency fund? Setting specific goals will give you your budgeting purpose and motivation. Number four, allocate your income. Now that you know your income, expenses, and goals, it's time to allocate your income. Start with your fixed expenses, then allocate money to your variable expenses, savings, and debt repayment. Just make sure that your total expenses do not exceed your income. It should not. Review and adjust is the last stage of making up a budget. A budget isn't set in stone, guys. Review it regularly and make adjustments as needed. If you find you're overspending in one category, try to cut back in another. And if your income changes, be sure to update your budget accordingly. You have to constantly update your budget as per your income. Now, tips for sticking to your budget. Making a budget is just not everything. Sometimes you make a budget, but it's really hard to stick to your budget. So, here are a few tips to help you stay on track. First, automate your savings. Set up automatic transfers to your savings account. So you're saving money without even thinking about it. You see, sometimes thinking about it really gets you out of a saving mode. So if your savings are automated, every time you receive money, it directly goes to your savings. Number two, use cash for discretionary spending. Consider using cash for categories like dining out or entertainment. When the cash is gone, you know you've hit your limit. That way you don't end up overspending. So you just withdraw the needed amount, and when it's over, you go back home because you're already at your spending limit. Number three, review your budget weekly. Take a few minutes each week to review your budget and see how you're doing. This will help you catch any issues early and make adjustments if needed. 4, be flexible. Life is unpredictable and sometimes your budget will need to change. Don't be too hard on yourself if you go over in one category. Just adjust your budget for the next month. Lastly, celebrate your wins. Don't forget to celebrate your successes. Whether it's paying off a credit card or reaching a savings goal, take a moment to acknowledge your hard work. And that's a wrap for today's episode on budgeting basics. Remember, a budget isn't about restricting your spending. It's about making sure your money is working for you and helping you achieve your goals. I hope you found this episode helpful and that you're feeling inspired to take control of your finances. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to reach out. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay financially fit, guys.